Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yeah, here we are. It's freaking Monday. Anthony's running in front of the camera. Everything's going crazy. Brad's here. G's here. What's up, guys?
What's going on,
Hey,
Bull?
man. And by the way, my nephew Cheese was always a disappointment.
Yeah, what?
I don't get that reference. I'm missing it. What is that from? What is that, Cheese?
My nephew Cheese. My nephew Cheese, the boy was always.
What is that
always
from? I'm missing it.
The Wire.
Oh, how did I forget that reference?
Yeah.
I knew that sounded familiar. That's a terrible job out of me.
That's right. You coming here full of them today. You prop Joe, you the whole nine today.
I'm ready to go.
You ready to go, I see.
By the way, two videos you must see this morning.
The Wallace at Slings.
One is this kid named Jeremiah who interviews Josh Jacobs at the Pro Bowl. And we'll get to what happened with Myles Garrett there in a second. And the other one is you got to see what happened at the end. Maybe we could play this. The end of the Pepperdine Portland college basketball game. Who the hell would watch Pepperdine Portland? Did you hear about what happened at the end of this game?
No, that sounds like a good college baseball game, though.
It does. But it actually, I didn't even know.
Out of California.
This was the wildest ending. Or maybe we could just show the video later. But lots to get to today. We'll get to Myles Garrett, what happened there, the Guardians over-under total. What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything exciting? G, Brad, what do you got?
I went to a couple of college basketball games. I went to the Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Robert Moore's game in Indiana yesterday, Fort Wayne on Saturday, and I went to Ohio State and Maryland game in the College Park yesterday.
You know, nice. I want to correct something on the record. I said the other day, foolishly as being a Duke of knee-jerk, I said that nobody watches college basketball. But as the days get longer, as the light continues to permeate, and as conference tournaments come up, March Madness is still the joint. It doesn't matter if you know any teams. You just watching all them games in all the regions, and I get to watch Barkley be at each regional and be like, you know what, that guy's terrible. I love watching him tell other kids that they're terrible and kidding. I love the terrible games at New Mexico with Gonzaga and Cal State Fullerton, and it's just great.
The tournament is fun. I haven't watched any men's college basketball at all. I haven't watched much college basketball, period. But you're right. The tournament, even if you don't, I don't really know any of the players.
You don't. It's bite or bump it. It's like
I do know that Jim Boeheim was whining as usual yesterday. We'll get to that. By the way, I tweeted this yesterday, so it's a repeat for people who saw my tweet. But I went to see Avatar 2, which, listen, maybe there's something wrong with me, but I'm attracted to the blue girl, Zoe Saldana. I mean, she's hot.
Listen,
she may be blue. But I don't know. I'm kind of into it. Jake,
So basically, I heard.
Did you see the second one yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Basically, what I've heard is that they take people's profiles, right?
Yeah.
So they'll take a bunch of people's hidden data on Google where they have porn sites.
Yeah.
And then they'll take those to make these fictitious characters.
Love it.
And they'll make them attractive.
I'm in.
You're like, how come? Have you ever seen a movie called Splice?
No.
That's the worst movie ever.
Worst movie ever?
It was legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
But they did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
They had this little creature alien thing with a tail named Dren.
Yeah.
And then they turned her into a hot alien. You're like, bro,
well, what's her name was hot? Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah,
she was hot.
So uncomfortable.
What is wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you two?
Creep. That is the creep
I'm
goggles.
blue. I don't want to see me blue.
That's the beer goggles.
Let me tell you something.
What is going on here?
Zoe Saldana could be blue, purple, gray, or orange. I don't care. She's hot.
She's different colors.
And she's green in Guardians of the Galaxy. She's gorgeous. Doesn't matter. And what was it? Who was playing the other woman in there? Was that Charlize? Not Charlize Theron. Somebody else famous.
The oldest one, they try to make her Miwa or something. They transfer her back into
well, Sigourney Weaver was the kid now.
Yeah, right?
No, but the other woman, the head of the other tribe.
Yeah.
The woman, she's a famous actress. I can't think of who it is, though.
The water tribe?
The water
they see her
tribe.
coming out the water. They're like, oh, my goodness, who's this hot water
I know,
water
tribe
giant?
Mikey.
All right, we've determined we're into the blue
These two.
people.
I know, Brad. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Avatar 2, very good.
You want to see some real women? Go to the Super Bowl. You got to see some real
Very
women.
good. By the way, my son and I
Avatar.
both made it through 3 hours and 10 minutes without having to leave to go to the bathroom,
Avatar.
which is a miracle.
Okay.
But the best part of yesterday was we went to see the movie at Valley View, Cinemark at Valley View, you know the theater? And there's a little street right over there called Fosdick Street. Did you know this?
No.
Who the hell thought that was? The street's called Fosdick. Fosdick.
So you're talking about hot blue chicks and Fosdick Street
Fosdick
in the
Street.
first 5 minutes of the show.
Who was the guy that decided?
Yes,
We're going to call this street Fosdick Street.
You actually, you know what, Bull? You actually have a politician in the building.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell me how they go about naming streets if you want a new one?
Yeah.
How does that work?
In a municipality, you'd have to, city council would have to vote on it, right? The engineer would probably come up with a name. Somebody would come up with the engineer would probably come up with a name, and then somebody would have to certify it.
So, okay, all I need to do is get an engineer and then talk to city council.
G. Bush Lane.
A lot of these streets are named after people.
So you think there was a guy named Fosdick?
Well, if a developer put the street in, he might have had some connection, and he might name the streets, right? And that's part. And then when he dedicates it back to the city, it's that street.
Mike, we need a poll. If your last name was Fosdick, would you change it?
Anthony, put it up. Put it on the poll.
Right? Because I think I don't know if I mentioned this before. I can't remember if I mentioned this on the show. But when I was I went to day camp when I was a kid for a little while. And then I worked there for a number of years as like a counselor in the summer in Rockaway, Queens. Mm-hmm. And I had two guys that I worked with there, two brothers, and their last name was Lipschitz. Lipschitz. And their name was Lipschitz. And they changed their last name legally. They changed their last name to Gannon.
Yo, that's so crazy.
Like, that's a terrible name, Lipschitz. Because somebody says, hey, if your ass talks, does your lip shits or whatever,
This guy, can you imagine if he was in Bull's first grade class and you had to stand up and say your whole name first and last? Bull would have just messed with that kid for the whole doggone year.
Oh, man.
When did you get the nickname Bull? Like, how long were you Adam? Until what age?
Bro, we've heard this story, right?
No, I know, but just what age?
The first time, even when I was a little kid, people called me Bull because the Cubs had a first baseman, Leon Bull Durham. You remember Leon Bull Durham? Mm-hmm. He was a first baseman for the.
I remember the story. I was just asking what year, like what age.
I was probably like 12, 13 when people saw it. But it really wasn't until college that it became like everybody called. Now my friends back, in New Jersey, their kids call me Uncle Bull.
Well, it's just weird. Someone asked, "How's Adam like this weekend?" to me, and I'm like, "Who the hell's Adam? Like Adam the Bull."
Hey,
no one calls. I don't think his wife calls him Adam. Like
my wife does call me Adam.
Yeah, see, I thought the only other Adam is Ostro. I've seen him like 4 times.
Yeah.
He's like Dr. Claw.
All right, well, we got a lot to get to. We're going to get to some sports. We'll move off of Fosdick and Lipschitz, and let's get to Mikey McNuggets. He's got some information for us.
Yeah, the over-under on how long into this week we'd go without saying Lipschitz and Fosdick. We smashed the over on that.
Yeah.
Thanks to BetJack. You can bet on literally anything with BetJack because it is the official sportsbook of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Ohio sports fans, get in on the action. It is live now. Download the BetJack app today. Get in with all the props, game lines, over-under, Super Bowl props you could ever imagine. BetJack, not only Ohio sportsbook, but the Ultimate Cleveland Sportsbook as well.
They need to have an over-under on how long I will keep my beard for. Like, will I keep it till
I'll talk to my people. We'll get
till
to
April?
It.
Man, you need to get...
And speaking of beards, before we get to our topic, we have a jingle on BetJack.
Oh, I like this.
When you see a spread that's just too good, where you going to bet? BetJack. When you bet parlays, because you know you should, where you going to bet? BetJack.
To the Ghostbusters theme, Freddy.
Now, by the way, do you notice that the bars and the melody, that could have been Michael Jackson, I'm Bad.
It could have been too. That's true. It's Ghostbusters, but it kind of could have been bad too.
It could have been.
It's a good call out of you.
By the way, Michael Jackson, the only person I could get away with certain things. How you gonna come out the first verse and say, your butt is mine? What? Whoa, what's yours? Your butt is mine. You can't say that.
Last thing we're going to get to real topics today.
Yeah.
We did put up the YouTube poll on the Fosdick question.
Yeah.
and 54% said, please, for the love of God, Mikey, please move on. So let's get to sports. There was 22% yes, 22% no, and 54% please, for the love of God, Mikey, move on. So
get over yourself, people. We're ignoring you. All right,
Kyrie Irving.
We were going to move on anyway. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving, guys. Kyrie Irving, who is never happy, maybe the most miserable athlete in the history of professional sports, is on the move again. Brad, let's start with you. Are you surprised? I mean, we know that Kyrie is an immensely talented player. To me, the juice is no longer worth the squeeze when it comes to Kyrie.
Listen,
are you surprised Dallas went all in on him?
Well, I'm not surprised that there was a market for Kyrie Irving out here. You think of a team like Dallas, who is in need in 6th place in the Western Conference. They need a splash. They've never been able to team up anybody with Luka Doncic, right? They felt like they had to go all in and do something of catastrophic consequences, and that's what it's going to be, because I don't know. Kyrie Irving has so much. There's no question he's a talented basketball player. There's no question. It is the extras that come, and after a while, people just get tired, right? They were tired when he left here. They were tired when he went to Boston. When he left Boston, they were tired. At the end, the Nets organization just said, screw it.
Get him out.
You out.
Yeah.
The one place you're not going, Lakerland.
Right.
Not with us.
Yeah.
Right. I'm surprised they ain't shipping him to the worst team in basketball and say, just give me some future picks for in year 30, 33.
Man, you know what? I would have, I think sometimes they don't want to, and that's what front office do. They don't want to, because these young kids come up and they look up to these dudes. So it'd be like, okay, I'm not going to ship Kyrie Irving to Siberia because then he might have the same agent, or he may know a dude and they see how they treat free agents. But at the end of the day, man, I just knew it was a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before he's going to roll out. And I think his eventual destination will be L.A. I think, LeBron lobbied for it, and I think he lobbied for it hard. Now, I don't know, I got no inside information like Jason or any of that, but if you look at the Lakers roster, I think what really separated and really stopped that trade is because Kevin Durant won nothing with Russell Westbrook. He won no parts of that reunion.
And the Nets owner didn't want to send him to the team he wanted to be on.
Yeah, there's a two-track story.
It is amazing, though, that Kyrie forced his way out of here because he wanted to be the guy, and now he wants to go play with LeBron. Here's the thing, guys. Kyrie's won 2 playoff series without LeBron in his career. 2.
Yes. Well, we don't have to go to that. Here, I'm gonna keep going back to it. The talent level is immense. There's no question. One of the best basketball players on the face of this planet. It is the extras.
Yeah.
It is the extra that is dragging us down in the rabbit hole. And at the end of the day, it just becomes, people are just to the point now where it's not worth it. Sometimes the risk is not worth the reward is not worth the risk. And what you just saw is one man basically single-handedly destroy a franchise. He destroyed, because they went to Brooklyn, and this thing was supposed to be the next thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
There was Durant, then there was Harden, and this thing was about to come together. Then COVID came in, and then next thing you know, it just got all blown up.
Yeah.
And the one dude that's blowing it up is the dude they just shipped out of town.
Now, this is good news for the Cavs, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's no question.
We'll take it.
Right? Now you think the Cavs have a good shot of being the 4 seed.
Right.
And they're playing better, obviously. Nice win last night. I think every starter scored 17 points. You got to be crazy at this point to give Kyrie a long-term contract.
I could do it. I could not do it.
Yeah.
I could not do it. Right? I could not, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what's going to set him off in another direction.
Right.
Let alone this. I'll ask you to go back, Mikey. Pull up his games played in his career.
Kyrie?
The most games he ever played was 72.
Yeah.
And that was here, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's
He's
not
20
just
here, 40 there, 60 here. He's never available.
No.
That's
never
true.
available.
So it's not. So you have the shenanigans off the court,
Right.
but then he's not. He may be great when he's healthy, but he's way too unreliable on the court in terms of being healthy.
For the money that he's talking about.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's
cannot.
It's like,
how many seasons, real quick, G, to Brad's point, how many seasons do you think Kyrie's played 70 or more games in?
Now, in fairness, there was one year it was a lockout in the COVID year.
I think
Probably only one.
One.
He's played over 73 times, all in Cleveland. 71, 75, 72.
Yeah. See, that's sad.
And read about the rest of them. What did the rest of the years look like?
You ready for this?
Yeah, come on.
It's pretty ugly. By the way, he played 74 games with Kevin Durant total.
In totality.
In 4 seasons.
In four seasons.
Or 3.5 seasons. But
That's
his
amazing.
games by years played.
Give me the game by years.
51, 59, 71, 75, 53, 72, 60, 67, and then he goes to Brooklyn, 20, 54, 29, 40.
I mean, that's, and the last 4 years, he's played more than 40 games once out of 4 years.
And, this is the exact opposite of what we see in the NFL. And I'm all for players, right? I'm usually side on the players with a lot of different things, man.
Yeah.
But when you look at LeBron's generation and the kind of generation after it, if you talk about Larry Bird and Larry Bird and Magic kept the lights on, and then Jordan came in and put them under the lights, right? Put them under the big lights, the spotlights of the world. He became one of the biggest sports in the entire universe. They've kind of chipped away at that. And I know people say, well, that's kind of harsh. But, nah, I think when you look at the legacy of the last 20 years, the legacy has to be the big threes. The legacy has to be the max deals. The legacy has to be the amnesties. You got to think about it. At one point in time, there were so many bad contracts out there that the league had to come up with an amnesty rule where you said, hey, that guy is garbage, he don't want to play. We could just get rid of him and it don't count. Yeah. Like, what kind of rule is that?
That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It's like you had the Baron Davises of the world and Darius Miles, and it started to a point where they was playing, but they was doing stuff like throwing the ball off the backboard trying to get triple doubles. They chipped away, like, come on. They done chipped away a lot at what they've built. And you look at one sport of football where you just dang near got to play dead. Well, and you look at basketball and they'll tell you, hey, look, my body tired today. We ain't even going to do that.
So we'll spin this to, and I'm going back to Kyrie here, right? So Kyrie goes to Dallas. I understand why Cuban jumped in on it, because he needed something to go with Luka. This thing when Dallas was tired. Luka out here by himself.
Right.
So now I'm trying to figure out how these two are going to play together, right? Because they're both ball dominant. So somebody's got to take an off role. And I don't see Luka taking an off role because he likes the ball in his hand, right? So that means Kyrie is where I got to take an off hand here. I want to see how this thing happens.
Well, he's better than he's better, right? You think Luka is better than
Luka's better?
Yeah, there's no question. There's no question.
That's no brainer. So he gonna have to rock, right?
Well, but you're used to a guy who likes the rock in his hand, right?
You got to give me some touches.
Right, got some touches here, right? So we're gonna see how this goes.
We'll see,
but this is gonna be quite interesting. Now they say he's supposed to show up in Dallas today for the physical, right? And then it's gonna maybe be available tomorrow against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Would you put it past him for Kyrie to be like, yeah?
I'll put that past him.
My knee hurt, though.
Yeah.
And here I'll say this, because first of all, Kyrie's not a dumb guy. He's not a dumb guy. He's an intelligent guy. He just has some views that are
out of
different. Very different, right? And then the other thing, I get from his personal views. There's a code of ethics where you're dealing with in a sports locker room with teammates, right? You cannot sell your people out, right?
Man, Durant's supposed to be his guy. Right. Sold him out.
Talk about that.
And he has on multiple occasions sold his people out.
Yep.
Every one of them.
It's like say for instance.
Sold LeBron out here.
Yep.
Right. Sold out the dudes and Tatum and them in Boston. Yeah. Right. Because they were his guys. He was under his wing.
His guy,
yep.
Right. Sold them out.
And they were better without him.
Right. Then he goes to Brooklyn. He sells out Harden and Durant. Durant gives him that second chance. We're gonna pull this together.
Yeah.
He comes back again and does what? Sells them out again.
Man, that's like I call this the Martin Lawrence theory. The Martin Lawrence theory. We don't all watch Martin, right? Martin will be having a great old time. He bring over Tommy and Cole, Gina over there, and then all of a sudden he invites you to a house party. You watching the Super Bowl party. He got the Hashitashi up there, the big screen, right? Then you come in there, and all of a sudden, he invites you to come through. Y'all get ready to crack the festivities and get some into these libations and this pizza and chicken. And he says, you know what? I don't like that comment Pam said. Everybody is out of here. Get to stepping. What? I drove across town for this, bro. The game is on. Kyrie Irving's the same guy. You brought this dude, Kevin Durant. You said we was good. That's your man.
Right.
You talk about livelihood. This is 4 years of his prime. Y'all ain't old. Y'all ain't young.
I saw people in Cleveland tweeting trying to get him back to come back here.
God. No
like,
thanks.
all right, we can't.
No thanks.
We cannot.
Speaking of the Cavs, guys.
We cannot do that.
No.
You know, interesting, guys, recently, Evan Mobley has stepped up his game, right? It looks like all of a sudden the last couple of weeks he's taken a step up. But to a lesser degree, it seems like Isaac Okoro has stepped up his game. You're not buying that?
No. Look, listen, I was watching. Hey, look. Hey, like Earl say, all I need him to do is hit a couple corner threes. Give me 9. 9, right?
He gave you 20 last night.
He gave you 20. If he can continue to hit that one, I can play you, son. I can play you.
And guess whose fantasy team he's on right now, baby? As I just moved into first place to try to win back-to-back fantasy basketball championships. Sorry. Let's get back to the Cavs.
Fantasy basketball?
Oh, yeah, I'm about to win.
Do you think, guys, though, the Cavs with Kyrie being out will be more aggressive at the deadline now, or at least look to pursue maybe an option they weren't considering prior to this Kyrie move?
I just don't know in the end. I think we all agree the Cavs are not winning a championship. They're not going to the finals, right? They're not good enough yet.
No, it's not.
You got to learn.
I don't say that because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
But they're a long shot.
I'll say this: they're not the favorite. They're not the odds-on favorite. But I will say this: I think I stay in the market until the market closes at 3:00 on Thursday. What is that? Thursday?
Yeah,
Thursday, 3:00.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Kevin Love out of the rotation.
Yeah.
Is this a temporary thing, Brad, or you think?
No, I think. Well, here, the Cavs are playing too many people. So JB has shortened it down to 8-man rotation, right? And that's typically how it works. You got the top 8 playing, and everybody else is waiting for an opportunity if somebody goes down. And they had to do that because you had everybody all screwed up because nobody kind of knew what their role was when they were coming in, when were they going out. And Kevin wasn't coming off a stellar month and a half.
He's not playing well.
They said, okay, we will save you for now, and then – if he's got some ailments, try to get you together, and then we'll see where it goes. But they had to shorten that rotation. That was no question they had to do that.
I totally agree. I think one of the reasons why people was on JB is because there's too many laws in the game where you watch the Cavs and they up. You saw it against Memphis. They up 10, 12 points, and all of a sudden you got dudes just. Mental lapses, just not running dudes off the 3-point line, not being where they need to be, offensive rebounds. When you shorten that rotation up, one thing that you do is you give another guy an opportunity to get some rhythm, right? You get, when Ricky Rubio came back, somebody had to go. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's minutes was out of here.
Yeah,
done.
So either Kevin Love or guys like Stevens and those dudes, and now definitely Stevens because Jetty is looks like he's solid in the rotation.
Rubio looked great yesterday.
They never come tell you that you're out the rotation.
Oh, is that how it works?
No.
How does that work? Even if you're a veteran?
Oh, yeah, they never tell you out the rotation.
You just figure it out?
Well, what happens is you get to the game, you're all dressed and you're ready to go. You think you'll get your number called, and first quarter goes by, second quarter goes by, third quarter goes by. You start to wonder what is happening here. And
he had to tell him that, right?
Oh, they'll never tell you.
No?
They never tell you.
Because how did they come up with the story? Did JB did the people say, JB, what's up with Kevin?
He might have told Kevin because he has respect for Kevin. But most people don't get told.
Yeah, Lamar Stevens.
They get
told. You might want to just show up ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Rubio played really well yesterday.
Yeah, he
had a good game. All right, let's leave the Cavs there for now, guys, and we're going to bring in. We got Leroy coming on at 11:30, but we want to talk about Myles Garrett before that. But, Mike, you got a read to get to before that.
Yeah, we'll do how about Built Bar?
Let's do that.
Let's talk about Built Bar. Guys, Myles Garrett, the strongest dude in the world, and we all know Myles Garrett is so strong because part of his workout regimen includes recovering from his workouts with Built Bars.
Yeah, we don't know that for a fact, but Mikey's assuming that.
Listen, anyone who's yoked is eating Built Bars. That's what the big guys do. Yeah. 15 grams of protein, less than 200 calories. Built Bar is the reason yoked dudes are yoked. Nothing else. Nothing to do with genetics. It's all Built Bar. You get 15% off at lockdown.com with promo code BUILT.
Why are you wearing a Miami?
I was saying, why do you have the U on?
What is that all about?
You saw my buddy Eli, who coaches for the Sixers, used to coach at the U, and so I got free gear, and it's the first jacket I grabbed this morning.
Man.
Hey man, you tell them to stop pocket watching you, bro. You tell them, don't watch me watch TV. Hey, like this came free and it got a logo on it. I'm rocking it.
Hey, I am if anyone wants to send any gear, if it's free, I'll wear it. That's my
all right. Guys, everybody was all worked up about Myles Garrett. We'll see if it's he obviously dislocated a toe. We don't know which toe it is. I texted my physical therapist and said, is this a big deal? He said, only if it's the big toe. If it's not the big toe, it's no big deal. So everybody, of course, turned this into like, oh, my God, these guys were having fun. Who cares? If I know you don't want him to be hurt. I think he's going to be fine. We shall see. Gia, you panicked about this. Are you flipping out?
Listen, if it's his big toe, he in trouble. I'm telling y'all right now, man. Listen, I'm not a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. Now, look, I done had 19, 20 surgeries and keep going up every time I tell the story.
Yeah. You got
obviously,
a lot of surgeries.
I dislocated my big toe at the growth plate, like two different places.
Yeah.
And basically, I had to get a rod put in my big toe. Now, I was like 13 when it happened. Now, when you get the dislocated toe, the first thing you got to understand, you dislocate anything, there's ligaments around that.
Yeah, right.
And so those ligaments are stretched.
Out. Yep.
Now you got to figure out when you got any small tears or whatever. And just believe that even if you just, have microscopic tears, that's what we call turf toe. I had that my entire senior year. It's one of the most debilitating things I've ever had. You can't push off. You have no explosiveness. You're on your back foot. Now you look at what Myles Garrett is, right? And people say this all the time, like, oh, he'll be fine. If you're a regular civilian, I need y'all to stop capping. Regular civilians is not that tough. Y'all be acting like y'all got a little cough and y'all don't go to work. Let your next door neighbor dislocate an elbow. They ain't going to work for 3 weeks. Oh, you got to get me. Get me, Barbara.
Oh my God.
Barbara, come in. We got to go to the bar. No.
I just want to know this. Now, we go to the Pro Bowl games. We're away from the Pro Bowl. We're not hitting nobody. How you come out hurt?
They're running. They're doing a battle of the network stars here. They're running through walls.
I saw nonsense things.
It looked fun.
Ball.
I didn't watch it, but it looked fun.
Man, listen, I bet the ownership don't think it's fun today.
Well, they should. You know what? They can't.
I ain't playing.
I mean, is it really that big a deal?
Yes.
He's going to be fine. Leroy, let's bring in Leroy. Leroy, are you worried about Myles Garrett's dislocated toe?
Hey.
What's up, Leroy?
No, he'll have plenty of time to heal. I did to G. Bush's point. So about 3 weeks ago,
what you dislocated?
4 weeks ago, I started having like a little knee stiffness from coming back from my thumb, start golfing and doing some stuff at the gym or whatever. And it was stiff, so, I was stretching it, getting the jacuzzi, doing my little workouts in the pool or whatever. Kept getting worse. 4 weeks later, I get up on Monday, I can't walk on it.
Oh,
I'm like, wow. I tell my wife, I'm going to the hospital. Don't go to the hospital.
Don't go to emergency, go to urgent care.
It's emergency when I can't walk. Right? So we go to Tuesday. It ain't getting no better. So I say, you know what? I'm going to do what all husbands would do in my situation. I'm going to wait till she go to sleep. And then I'm going to sneak over to the emergency room. So I get up at like 4:30, 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I go to the emergency room. I'm there for about 3-4 hours. I get a CT scan and an x-ray. I have a fractured fibula.
Jesus.
Oh,
crazy.
Right.
I thought you were just diagnosed with old, but you got a fractured fibula.
No, I had a fractured fibula. So I go to the doctor next day. I get an MRI, and they say you have a fractured fibula, but you have a bone bruise. How did you do it? I don't know. He said, well, when you was playing Sunday,
when you was playing golf and you say it was bothering you, why didn't you stop? I said, because I was winning. Hey, come on. I said, because I was winning. I ain't going to give nobody no free dub. So when you talk about things that happen, athletes, if they having a good time, it don't hurt as much.
Right.
Right? And so what I think is that you ever notice teams that are 1-8 always have a lot of injured players, and teams that are 8-1, everybody's sucking it up.
Yeah.
That's life, man. That's life. Depending on how your life is going, depending on how much pain you could deal with. So I just think, he'll be fine. He just needs some time off. He's gonna wear them flip-flops for a while. Let that swelling go down. I broke my big toe, and before I could get into the locker room when I did it, they had to cut my shoe off, and that was like 5 minutes. So when I see him limping, and then he just decides to take a time out, I feel for him because I know it ain't no joke. It ain't no joke.
That toe get to leaning like this.
He'll be fine, though. Yeah, he'll be fine. So I think for the Pro Bowl, this is the best way to do it, okay? Because there's a couple things you can't do. There's no such thing as fake football.
Nope.
You either tackling or you not. You can't put these guys in pads and think somebody not gonna knock the hell out of somebody, right? Because they're gonna be some trash talk. Somebody gonna get beat, and they gonna get mad and say, I got all these equipment on, I'm taking them out. So I think this is the best way to do it this week because of all the sports. This is the most physical. So what you have to do is you have to showcase all of the Pro Bowlers while having them do something for the fans and have them compete at something without hitting. And so I appreciate the league taking these steps. Now, because it's so far away from football, I can see how people are turned off by it. But if your solution is let them play a game, then you don't care about them players.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why they got rid of the game, because the game sucked anyway. Yeah. I actually didn't watch this, but when I watched the highlights of it, it seemed like they were having fun. Guys are running through walls. Myles Garrett's jumping over things. It looked like it was fun. You never want to see anybody get injured, but
here's what it does. And Brad, you could attest to this. Sometimes the role that you play on a team doesn't let people see your true athleticism.
Right.
And so when you see all these big fat guys out there doing all this jumping and lunging and running around, you're like, wow, these guys are athletic. And I think it's a way of showcasing that so that you understand that these are the elite of the elite, regardless of what position. And so that's one of the things that I hope people are able to take away from that, because, you see Myles Garrett rushing in front of another 300-pound guy, but if you ever see him on the street running, you'll be like, wow, this dude can run. And I think that's what this weekend should probably do more than anything, to let you know the level of talent that is playing in the NFL by the various things that they do. For example, dodgeball, the defense should never win. Them dudes can't catch.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just things like that. So I watched a little bit of it, but I watched it more looking at the athletes themselves and seeing them do athletic things. Like, you think that your biggest guys are your strongest guys, but some of them little guys are strong as hell. And this is just, an event or a weekend where you get to see guys outside of their element, outside of their role on a football field, doing athletic things.
Let me ask you this, Leroy. Your guy, I don't know if he's your guy, I don't even know him personally, a fellow Michigan man, made what I think is one of the dumbest statements in the history of sports. Your guy, Taylor Lewan, did you hear what he said?
No, I did not.
He said that every NFL team should retire Tom Brady's number. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Do you want to defend him or no?
Well, where'd you say he went to school?
He went to Michigan.
Where did Tom Brady go to school?
He went to Michigan.
If it was a Buckeye, they'd be saying the same thing about that Buckeye.
And I would tell them they were stupid too.
But that's fine. But you have to come. Where does this come from?
I know. I get it. I'm just busting your chops.
You know what? Football's different. Football's different in a way that Tom Brady did dominate at his position like Jordan did playing basketball.
But Jordan's number's not retired around the whole league.
A lot of teams have. The Heat do.
For some reason, which they should. The only number in sports that I can think of that is retired by every team is Jackie Robinson. And that, in my opinion, should be the only number retired. But being great, what Jackie Robinson did was well beyond, obviously, playing baseball. He was great at baseball.
Correct.
But Tom Brady's great at football. But he ain't Jackie Robinson. He didn't do what Jackie Robinson did. I don't think you should have every team retire your number because you're a great player. That's how I see it.
I would agree. I would agree with that in some way. I think it's sometimes we take these things too literal, right? I think it was, his way of acknowledging how great Tom Brady was. I don't think he really realistically thinks somebody would do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I got to tell you, you think Indianapolis is going to retire Tom Brady's number?
Exactly.
Hell no. Right? So,
yeah, it's crazy.
So let's put it in perspective. But as a guy who went to the same school, he probably looks at that a little bit different. But it takes a while before we realize how unprecedented Tom Brady's career was.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I don't think it take a long time.
We too close. Like, think about this, Brad.
Yeah.
Every year that goes by, Jordan gets greater and greater.
Don't he?
Right? But here's the other thing. To the point that we are missing what LeBron James is doing. Right? Like, we have a hard time just appreciating each talent for what they are. We always tend to compare them to somebody else, to the fact that we punish ourselves from enjoying the greatness of the player that's doing it now. And so, like, I don't compare Jordan to LeBron. Jordan is Jordan. And Jordan's greatness has a lot to do with what he's done off the court than on the court. Because if Jordan didn't have tennis shoes, what would he be? Right? He'd still be great, but not at that level. I mean, we talk about them Jordans every day.
Let's talk about it, man. Talk about that. I just talked to my wife about that. It's unacceptable. I only got one pair of Jordans in the last 2 months. We got to figure this thing out, bro.
Right. But so like, as an athlete, and Brad, you could probably say this when you watch basketball, you take each individual and look at his greatness, not compared to others, but compared to what he does. Basketball has changed so much now that great now is not necessarily as great as before, but it's a different level of great.
Yeah, they play different.
So
now.
when you think about Steph Curry, you can't talk about Steph Curry being the greatest basketball player ever. He's the greatest basketball player, or one of the greatest basketball players right now. But it's hard to compare what these guys had to do to be successful back in the day. Now, I know Jordan, if it was a three-point contest and Jordan had to be the best three-point shooter, I know that dude has the makeup that he gonna start shooting threes. I'm not just gonna dismiss it, but sports is different than it was back then. And you gotta be a different type of great. and it's hard to compare great with the different eras because different greatnesses were required at that time.
Well, Leroy, I'm glad you brought it up because that is the conversation. LeBron is on the verge of breaking Kareem's record, right? And he's going to be the all-time leading scorer in this league for many decades to come, right? It's going to be a long time before somebody comes around and does that.
Well, because nobody's going to play that many games, Brad.
See, that's what
nobody's
I
going
said.
to play as much as he plays.
People don't understand, and then you kind of discredit the other people because if you were around when Kareem was playing, what Kareem was doing was unbelievable. Now, he did it without a three-point. I think Kareem had made one three-point basket in his career. One, right?
Right.
And he didn't play the longevity that LeBron has played because they weren't coming out of high school straight into the league now. And I give LeBron credit because he don't take days off like that, right? He's old school throwback. In order to get that record, you have to play just about all the time, and he's done that, right? But you got this conversation going on, Leroy, now talking about, is it Jordan or is it LeBron? And the people are in two different camps here. The younger you are, you're leaning towards LeBron. The older you are, is going Jordan. And that's discounting Kareem, Wilt,
Russell,
right? So if you didn't see that, and it's good for the fans to talk about it, but everybody got a side. I got a side. You know what side I'm on.
You already know.
I already know what side I'm on, right? There ain't no question what side I'm on.
Pick a side. He's like, you the ops over there.
But I would say this, Brett, is there anybody in sports who had a skill that was indefensible like Kareem?
No.
That's right there.
Leroy.
All the sports that has been played, nobody else has done it. We got the teardrop, right? We got guys shooting threes from midcourt.
That hook was a killer.
On the left side, the right side, from the baseline.
Giving it to you.
Everybody thought that sky hook was just close to the basket.
Yeah.
I would argue
that shooting 5-10-foot sky hooks.
Leroy, I would argue that Joey Chestnut, the great hot dog eater, has a skill that cannot be topped.
You would talk about food.
Pause. And he's talking about hot dogs, too.
Let me tell you something, Leroy. Don't be a wise guy. Don't be a wise guy.
I'm not being a wise guy.
You broke your leg playing golf, for crying out loud.
I don't know that I did. It has been neither confirmed, nor did I. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out. Man, I don't know. When the last time you got up and had a fractured fibula? I don't know.
Yeah.
Leroy, go back to what you're saying here, because Kareem, Kareem was mad at LeBron, right?
Why?
Yeah, they don't get along.
Because I told you, Leroy, it's like this. Them old school dudes don't respect that. They're like, you cheating. Right. You got it, but you not.
No disrespect to Kareem. LeBron would have gave him buckets too. No disrespect to the big homie. You're going to get your sky hook on, but you might get dunked on. Kareem is what, 220?
Man.
LeBron 260.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, but Kareem played when they were physical. The game's not as physical anymore.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was killing people.
He was.
No, dude. I'm telling you, unstoppable.
He
couldn't stop this dude. You could not.
It is the most unstoppable skill to ever hit sports. Name something else.
You don't have it. Nobody.
Like we talk about Mariano Rivera, what's his name? Mariano Rivera's throwing that cutter, right?
Yeah, that was pretty unstoppable.
It got hit every now and then.
I'm sure Kareem didn't make it. Kareem didn't make every skyhook he took.
Damn near.
By the way, there are two. I didn't realize this. There are two other numbers retired in sports. Wayne Gretzky's 99 in hockey. I didn't know that.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And I forgot about this one. They just retired Bill Russell.
Yeah, Bill Russell.
Yeah.
But people still wear 6.
What's that?
People can still wear 6 as long as you're grandfathered in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like LeBron wears 6.
I gotta ask you. This is a serious question. This is a serious question because this week is the Super Bowl, and it's the first time 2 African American quarterbacks are playing at the same time, starters, right?
Yep.
You came in an era where there were not that many. You had guys like, for me, I think the staple would be Warren Moon, and we know how prolific he was and what he had to do. He didn't even come in the league straight off the start. Randall Cunningham, guys like that.
Cunningham.
Let me ask you this.
McNair.
Yep. A lot of people will say is if you're African American and you point out the fact that, hey, the Browns had an all-black quarterback room. Some people will say to you, why does that matter? Black quarterbacks are here all the time. Why would you point that out? Do you believe now that it's so prolific and now that it's happening and there's a lot of great black quarterbacks in the league and some of them like Mahomes and Hurts and all these guys, Lamar Jackson, they almost become the face of the league. Do you believe it is worth still acknowledging the fact that there are 2 African-American quarterbacks? And do you kind of see why people push back against that? And just in your opinion.
I can see why people push back. You know what I mean? But it's the first time.
Why? Because they're racist?
It's the first time. So that's why it's being mentioned so much. And we all know how these stories with the, when some report asked Doug Williams how long you've been a black quarterback.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you could ask a question like that, why can't we like, hey man, this is the first time 2 black quarterbacks started a Super Bowl. It's a fact. It's the first time it happened. Same way we did with Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy when they were coaching down here in Miami. Okay? Like, it's the first time. Now, granted, when you look at these 2 guys, I would hope that more people across the league are thinking, I need a quarterback like that with that skill set than them pushing back. Because that is what needs to be talked about. Because you have 2 guys who couldn't be totally different than how they do things, right? Yet they're both African American. And that is the point that needs to be made. Jalen Hurts, multi-talented. He can run the football. He runs the RPO. He can throw the football. Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers-like in the way that he releases the football and creates plays after it's broken down. So when you start talking about these quarterbacks, I look at it as, side note, they're both African-American. But it's the first time it's happened, so you're going to probably hear about it a little bit more. And second of all, right, the days of the quarterback sitting in the pocket and throwing the football like Dan Marino or Boomer Esiason or one of them guys, that's long gone. Because the other thing you have to realize is that pass rush ain't no joke. And you can't have a quarterback just sitting in the pocket anymore. You got to have a guy that has some ability to move and extend plays. And I think that's the most important thing is that football itself as a whole has taken that quarterback position and required that it has more athleticism than it has in the past.
But they're still...
So they can say whatever they want.
Leroy,
but the reality of it is the facts speak for themselves.
There's still, I think it is a big deal. I think it's certainly worth noting. Anybody that has a problem with it, to me, who cares about those people? They're racist anyway.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's racist.
I do.
Well, here's
you don't have to say it. I think it is.
No, sometimes, people will say there's people that are past because we've seen so many great black quarterbacks, right?
Right, but there's still an inherent, I believe, and that doesn't mean I think sometimes when you say there's like racism, like people say there's racism in America, that means you think every white person's racist. No, of course not every white person's racist. But it's something in our society, and it still exists in the NFL world. If you really look carefully into it, there's still, even when a black coach gets hired or a black quarterback is a quarterback, there's still a general, people are quicker to say that's a fluke or let's fire him and let's not give him another chance. And I'm not even saying all the people that are doing that are racist. Sometimes it's just subconscious. And there is still, when you have executives still saying, oh, Lamar Jackson should try out as a wide receiver, when Jalen Hurts should try out as a wide receiver. There's still a level of that in the NFL. It's not across the board like it was, but there's still a level of that, which makes it harder for a black quarterback to get an opportunity, even to this day.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, boy.
Yeah.
And I believe this with all that I am. If you run a team and you are trying to construct a team and you have that attitude, you're not going to be good at your job.
That's correct. That's true.
And so when you listen to the people saying things like that, I just look at him and say, he's terrible at what he does. And I don't care who it is. I don't care that Bill Polian said Lamar Jackson should play wide receiver. That means I can't trust your opinion. And so the more of that we get, and the more people put themselves out there, because everybody want a hot take, right? The more you put yourself out there, the more ignorant you choose to be. So I don't look at it anyway as here's another one, here's another guy, right? And the thing about sports that I really love at this moment is that there's so many different body types, so many different ways to do the same thing. And because you have all these players in all sports that are so athletic, it's incumbent upon the organizations and these coaching staffs to put them in the best position so that everybody in the organization can succeed. And if you don't, shame on you. And that's what I'm starting to see. You're starting to see, guys that have had players that nobody thought would work out. They changed the coach. Boom, boom, boom. Look at this. You look at down here in Miami. You had a coach who wasn't a fan of Tua for whatever reason, right? You bring in a new coach, and Tua now was leading the league in about 5 or 6 categories. Mm-hmm. Put him in the best position to be successful with his skill set. That is the hardest thing to do in sports when we just sit here having a conversation about how athletic and talented guys are with the roles that they fill. They probably could do a lot of other things. So I don't look at it anyway as looking at, hey, that guy don't know what he's doing. And I look at it that way. I look at it, when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, why the hell haven't they paid Lamar Jackson? Who else you gonna get? Who else you gonna get? Go find me another Lamar Jackson.
Man, and Leroy, good stuff as always, man. We appreciate you taking the time. It's a good point.
Always.
We'll talk to you soon. Leroy, always great chatting with Leroy.
All right, Leroy.
And Leroy will not be on overtime today, but the three of us will be doing an overtime segment today.
What's up?
Brad, I think I'm going to roll with LeBron.
Get your little dig in on the way out.
Yeah. Memberships.
Listen.
I know who you rolling with.
Look. That's a Michigan man right there.
Right. Thanks, Leroy.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Leroy.
Right. So we got the memberships for the overtime of the coaches tier for $4.99 a month. Are you looking at me like I'm crazy?
No, I was looking at Steve to get the graphics up. No, overtime. We talk about it all the time.
What?
For $1.99 a month, you're part of our starters tier membership. You get the loyalty badges, custom emojis. I think we're one member away from unlocking the next emoji. I'm not sure what that one is, but I think we're one away. And the members-only community post for $4.99 a month, less than $5 a month, less than $60 a year. You get the overtime content. You get some of the texting perks with Jason Lloyd and some other people during select Cavs games, member shout-outs, discount codes for merch. Also, it's the engagement in those overtime videos that I think is awesome. Sometimes we just throw out questions.
Yeah.
Really cool. Plus, on Wednesday, just a reminder to everybody, it is 48 hours away. The nerves back behind the glass window here are starting to get pretty unsettling as Anthony and I are ready to take the stage at Pickwick and Frolic.
It's going to be great.
On East 4th. Show starts at 7:30. Not only will be Anthony and myself, but it'll be appearances from everybody on the UCSS crew. G's got his hand raised. We're going to get to G in one sec. Plus Mike Polk, plus other real comedians. If you haven't got your tickets, they're going fast. All money goes to charity.
Oh, shoot. I didn't get my tickets yet.
They actually are. I got a note from Polk that there's a limited number of tickets left, so get your tickets.
I got to get mine, too. Stop
Yeah,
playing.
get your
Did you
tickets.
text me to remind me to buy the tickets?
I will text everyone to remind you. I'm going to text everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Get your tickets. It's going to be a blast. We'll have a little more preview of that tomorrow. Polk will be on with us Thursday to recap the show.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. G, what's up? You had your hand raised.
Oh, yeah. Man, I was in there looking. I was in the lab, man. And so basically we talk about memberships, man. You know, some people is $199, some people is $499. But everybody that consistently watches the show, we usually have somewhere about, 3,000, 4,000 people consistently always watching the show, and we appreciate you guys. Even if you can't be a member, right? You know, we know what it is. You know, inflation is crazy. You got kids. You trying to figure stuff out. You got to go to games. You know how you can become a member? Just by consistently hitting the like button. That's all you got to do. Just consistently hit that button for us. Believe it or not, that goes just as long as a monetary value, because what it does, it shows the YouTube algorithm, hey, man, we really enjoy this content, right? We really enjoy this show. And that helps other people connect and find the show. So if you want to be part of the like gang, we need to have that like gang. We got the $199 and the $499. We need that like gang, and we need people peer pressuring the hell out of people in the chat. We need people peer pressuring people in the comment section. Hit that like button, bro. Hit that. That does so much for our show, and we just want you to know that even if you just hit the like button, which is free, guess what? You part of the game.
There you go.
Hey, Mikey, before we move on, throw me up a spot survey on the internet.
I got you. What's up?
I want rank the best, Jordan or LeBron, and then I want people to also put in their age. I want to see.
I think,
So
for years, I was always.
I want to see how that polls out.
I was always Jordan the best, and obviously you played with him. In the last couple of years, I moved LeBron ahead. You think I'm crazy?
No, we're gonna find out. Okay, I hear a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I never thought I'd say anybody better than Jordan.
Well, here's the thing. Well, I will say, and I understand why it is that. See, me, I wrap it all. It's all encompassing for me, right?
Yeah.
Lore has to do with it. Winning has to do with it. Innovation has to do with it. How what you did for the game, how you did it. Did you bring something new to the game? In an era amongst what we call the greatest, to play in the 80s, you were the cream of the crop. For LeBron, I think he'll never be able to catch Jordan in terms of what Jordan's impact on culture in the game of basketball will ever be. There will never be a person that can do what Michael Jordan did. There's kids right now. I always talk about how I laugh and talk about Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan all the time. There's kids today that have never seen Michael Jordan touch a basketball. But for the most likely, if you was born in you was born anytime in the 90s, chances are you don't even remember Jordan playing. However, he's a cultural phenomenon to a point where you know how important his shoes is.
Yeah.
You ain't got to.
However,
you just know
though,
you got to get them.
LeBron, to his credit, has not been afraid to stand up for things in terms of social justice.
Right? Yep.
And Michael never did that, at least not publicly. No. And he,
That's what I said. It is a very interesting conversation, and I'm saying it just from the standpoint of playing with him, right? But it's a very interesting. I go in the gym and people are talking about it, working out.
Yeah.
It's a serious debate and people are avid on one side or the other. You don't really have that many people floating in the middle. Like, I don't know who to take. It's like I'm definitely on this side or that side. That's why I want to see that poll. And since Leroy brought it up, I want to see how it's tracking. Because Leroy is old enough to be in the other camp, right? And so,
well, so am I.
True.
And I switched in just the last couple of years, and I would have never thought. 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I would have said Kobe was better than LeBron. And now, to me, that's long gone. But
Brad, when you look at I guess when you look at that record, man, and I always say this.
It's unbelievable.
You can't knock LeBron for his greatness. Some people will say, well, Jordan didn't have all those years. He didn't come out of college, right? He didn't come out and go straight to the league. And I always say, hey, that's his fault. He wasn't as good as LeBron was. LeBron was able to do what he was able to do.
Well, he could have come straight at it. It's just guys didn't do that.
So you got to give him credit for being a trailblazer.
Yeah.
I can't take something away from one man because another man decided not to do it.
No, I agree. On the other hand, I could argue also that Michael Jordan got to learn from a great coach in college.
Well, then you also have to factor in. Now, here the old school guys come in. You have to factor this in. They've rewritten the rules here. They've changed the rules entirely here.
Yeah,
right?
I think
that has allowed for all this scoring to go on here.
Right.
Right. And so you cannot discount that. Right.
I believe that's the biggest defense.
Yeah.
That's the biggest hurdle for a LeBron individual saying LeBron is better than Jordan. That's the biggest hurdle to climb.
Well,
because you can't really, you really can't refute that. Like the game, the physicality of the game, the way they change rules, and right now you got to think of it. Back in the '80s, it would be laughable if you heard them say, "Well, you got a foul because you was up underneath somebody on a jumper." What?
Yeah.
That's what we do. We've been trying to put feet out there. That's on him to figure out where you landed or hand check it. Or when we used to play, when you get hit in the hand, hand is ball. Hand ball, baby.
When we played pickup in the park, it was no blood, no foul.
Yeah, no blood, no foul.
No blood, no foul.
That's right. No blood, no foul.
The only thing I will say that in defense of LeBron is even though the game is obviously a lot less physical, the players are more athletic top to bottom than they were in those days.
There's no question. It has evolved.
Right.
That's why it makes for great conversation because it's different now, right? Because I don't think Steph Curry could have survived in my era. He just could not. He would not have been that effective, right? Because they would have put body on him.
And you can grab him.
That wouldn't have happened. But now he is ultimately effective, right? And then I would just say the way that the way I think about it, if they change the rules, the guys I play with would steamroll this league. I mean, you had guys get straight out score, just straight out and out score.
Because it would have been like, can you imagine telling
you check Larry Bird with no rules like these rules? It'd been unbelievable.
It's like you ain't gonna do that here, and it wasn't no zone. I think you got
you got the poll.
I got the poll results. Yeah.
Is it close?
So we let it up for 3 minutes.
Okay.
We got over 100 votes. 55% for LeBron, 45 for Jordan. The average ages, 36 years old for LeBron voters, 46 for Jordan voters. So right in line with what you expected.
And that's with a Cleveland bias for LeBron, too. And yet it was only 55-45.
That's another innovation in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Y'all radio guys, y'all TV, you can't ask for no micro poll and put it up and get you some demographics. You can't do that. You just can't. Yes, I don't even know how y'all survive.
You're too busy running 19-minute commercial breaks over there. All right, Mikey, let's get to the top five here.
Oh, yeah. Top five?
Yeah. So everyone knows the main storylines for the Super Bowl. We have, as you mentioned earlier with Leroy, we have the first time it's two African-American quarterbacks starting the Super Bowl. It's Andy Reid versus old team, but also Nick Sirianni versus old team.
By the way, because my team was this close to getting the Super Bowl, I haven't been able to listen to any of the pregame stuff. It's pretty depressing. I know nobody feels sorry for me, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah, we have the fact that both coaches coach at their previous teams. Yeah. Andy Reid's the winningest coach in Eagles history. Yeah. Sirianni spent 4 years on the Chiefs staff as an offensive assistant. It's the Kelsey Bowl. We know Mahomes is chasing Tom Brady in the legacy category. Those are the main storylines that are going to get pounded into the dirt over the next week. So I found, with the help of a few podcasts, some research on my own, and some combination speaking, 5 storylines that aren't being talked about enough about this Super Bowl. Are you guys ready for the 5 underrated Super Bowl storylines?
Okay.
All right.
Let's take number 5, Steve. Patrick Mahomes on the precipice of making history. If the Eagles win, Mahomes will become the second quarterback ever to have a 1-2 Super Bowl record. Only a 1-2 Super Bowl record. Can you name the other one?
You mean 1 and 2? What you mean?
Like one win and 2 losses.
In the Super Bowl.
So what's the significance of that?
I know that's a stupid.
It's just an underrated storyline that people aren't talking about.
I don't think it's worthy.
Who's the other quarterback with a 1-2 Super Bowl record?
Super Bowl record 1-2
in the last 25 years. He's the only one ever, but it happened in the last 25 years.
Damn.
I was gonna say Brett Favre, but that's not true.
Nope.
Aaron Rodgers?
Nope.
Oh no. Yeah.
Not Russell Wilson.
Nope.
Hold on. Don't tell me, because I'm about to get this.
Who lost 2?
I'm about to get this.
That's why it's such an exclusive club bowl. That's why it matters. I know his career's not over yet, but
it matters so much we can't even think of who it is.
Hold on.
So exclusive.
I think I'm gonna get this. Nope, he didn't make it there. He didn't make it there.
1-1. Lost to the Super Bowl 3 times. Who went to the Super Bowl 3 times?
It's not Eli.
It is not. Oh,
no, he
God,
won
don't
twice.
You dare say Eli.
2-0.
Eli's 2-0, the king.
Damn.
It's not Peyton either.
Eli Manning never won a playoff game besides the 2 Super Bowl years. Which is
Fact.
wild.
Erroneous stats his career, though.
Hold on.
I don't know.
10 seconds.
Give
10
me,
seconds.
Give me the goal. I don't know it.
Here, one of the teams. One of the losses was on the Cardinals.
Oh, Kurt Warner.
Correct. Kurt Warner, the only quarterback in NFL history with a 1-2
What
Super Bowl
other
record.
championship he go to? Like, I'm trying to think. He had the one
He
against
lost
the-
one with the Rams.
He lost one with the Rams, won one with the Rams,
and then lost with the Cardinals.
I forgot
he lost with the Rams.
I forgot they got beat by the doggone Patriots.
Stump the Schwab.
Yeah.
Storyline number 2 that nobody's talking about. We know the Kelsey, the Brothers Bowl.
Yeah.
How about Fletcher Cox and Kenneth Gainwell being cousins? They can become the first pair of cousins to win a Super
That's
Bowl.
enough.
And listen,
For the Eagles.
McNuggets, bad job out of you. Every black person is cousin. Me and Brad is related. This is my uncle, twice removed.
By the way,
I saw him at the family reunion. I said, "What's up, OJ?"
By the way, that's another thing black people and Jewish people have in common.
Yes.
Every Jew is a cousin too.
It is.
We're all like incestuous and
We're all family.
Yeah, all peoples, all people.
pretty much.
My mom, I got so many cousins. My mom, when I went to high school, she said, "Now listen, you need to tell me every girl you talking to. I'm not trying to be nosy, but you know I got 10 uncles on my dad's side. I got 7 on my brothers and sisters on my mom's side. So that's 18 cats.
Yeah. If you're gonna bang a cousin, make sure it's a second
You
cousin.
better let me know, dog.
Is that inappropriate?
Coming up.
Quite.
My best
Quite.
friend, his parents, when they got married, they had the same last name already.
See, man. Hey, you can get that off in Utah, but not here.
What's the next question?
All right, next
Utah,
one.
a lot of incest in
Anthony
Utah. It's big.
But that might be the line of the week. All right, next one. No one's talking about this. Regardless of who wins the Super Bowl, the Mississippi State Bulldog football program will be getting the 26th championship ring in program history.
By the
Either
way,
Chris Jones or
none of
Fletcher
these
Cox.
storylines are interesting at all.
These
Well,
are random as
these are
hell.
Who gives a crap
These
about
are the underrated
Mississippi
storylines
State?
that nobody's talking about. I got to give them a little love because no one else
I
is.
forgot even with the Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Can you spell Mississippi?
Mississippi.
I don't even know if you got it right.
What is the capital of Mississippi?
Jackson.
Yeah, okay. All right, man.
I used to know all the state capitals. Okay, number 2, Texas forever. Both starting quarterbacks, high school football products from the great state of Texas.
That one there.
There's
from
nothing
Houston.
great about Texas, number one.
He's from Houston.
He's from Houston, and Pat Mahomes is from Tyler, Texas, White House High School.
Home
When I
of
hear Pat Mahomes, I don't-
home of Earl Campbell.
Yep.
Fact.
I think
Fact.
there's another quarterback that went there.
Tyler, Texas?
There's a lot of
Texas.
very good-
Texas. It used
A lot
to
of
be
quarterbacks from
It used to
Texas.
be California that was the hotbed. Right?
Yeah.
I feel it was California where it was all the quarterbacks. Then it went to Florida, and then it kind of moved to Texas.
No,
right?
I mean, Drew Brees, Nick Foles,
Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes. There's a lot in the league right now.
Drew
And there's
Brees
more
is
than
from
that, so-
Texas?
Yeah, he's from Austin. He went
Yeah.
to the same high school as Baker Mayfield.
I don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. And last but not least,
I ended up at Purdue.
the because he's
short.
like 5'8", yeah.
Yeah.
The number 1 storyline that nobody's talking about in this Super Bowl, the Johnson Bowl. There are 7 Johnsons in this game. 6 on the Eagles roster, 1 on Kansas City. The
I mean,
most
it's a pretty
Johnsons
common
ever
name.
in a Super Bowl.
And who
That
is
is a storyline that not enough people are talking about.
I mean, honestly, there'll be 90 guys with Johnsons playing in this game.
Steve, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, Steve. You tried to pop up that random nondescript 13. Put that back up. Who the hell is that? Who cut that? Who cut that clip?
Anthony made the graphic.
That's
What do you
random
know?
Johnson.
That is a random Johnson.
Who the hell's that guy?
That guy right there.
It is the
13?
one Johnson on Kansas City.
This guy. Who is that? He ain't even looking at the camera.
That looks like Garrett's cousin trying on a jersey in the backyard.
It do, like, yeah. And we want.
It's
Now, he's
Nazir
way too little to
Johnson,
be your
by the
cousin.
way.
Yeah, and be like, yo, you ain't playing receiver, you too slow, you the kicker. Kicker Johnson.
Yeah, who the hell is that guy?
Nazir Johnson is their backup safety.
Who?
Nazir Johnson, the backup
Nazi?
safety. Nazeee.
Man.
Who heard of that guy?
You said you had some
I'm
random.
saying that is the hard-hitting research you get.
That is
You
the
said you had
worst
some
top
randoms.
5 ever.
That
Randoms.
is random as hell.
I just wanted to make sure they were getting the appropriate shine. We didn't want to beat down the normal storylines. We're going to beat down the fact
My
that
God.
this is the Johnson Bowl.
We might listen if you in the chat. Hey, throw one up there if you be like, what the hell was that? Like,
that shouldn't have been the top 5 like underrated storylines. Those are the top 5 useless storylines.
Useless, underrated, it's all the same. We just want to give the people a different thing to watch for on Sunday.
All right, let's talk some baseball, guys.
It is time for the Guardians.
We haven't talked baseball in a long time. Things have been quiet on the Guardians front. But spring training is right around the corner.
Yeah.
By the way, I got a buddy of mine. Shout out to my friend Hans. You've met Hans, Mike.
Yeah, Hans the man.
My buddy Hans. He texted me over the weekend. He texted me a picture of a drum that supposedly was the drum that John Adams, who just passed away, used for 1 year in the 80s, or might have even been the 70s. And his dad had it, and his dad gave it to him. And so he was like, hey, can you reach out to the Guardians for me? Because maybe I'll give it to them and whatever. It's signed by all the players. It's pretty cool. The spring training right around the corner, guys. The over-unders are out for the year. What is the Guardians over-under? 87.5 wins. The Guardians finished with what, 92 last year?
92.
92 wins last year, guys.
G. Bush predicted it exactly, by the way,
Yes,
in our
I did.
pre-show meeting. Or pre-show rehearsals.
I know, but that was weird because then you didn't pick them. He didn't pick them to make the playoffs.
And then he picked them to lose every time for the next 17
That's true.
weeks.
Because
and then pivoted back to his original prediction of 92
I
wins.
thought the White Sox was going to win 95, and they might this year.
Yeah. So anyway, 87.5, which is obviously less than they won last year. Now, an important thing that they're doing this year in baseball, which they've never done before, they made this change, and I don't know how many fans know this. They have gone to a more balanced schedule in Major League Baseball. For years, and this is a disadvantage for the Guardians to some degree, for years, teams would play 18, 19 games against the teams in their division. Well, that is no longer the case. Now, you're only playing 13 games. Instead of playing every team in your division, it had always been you'd play 3 series in Detroit, and then Detroit would play 3 series here. Right. Now it's 2-2 instead of 3-3. And where are they making up those other games? In the other league. So starting this year, the Guardians will play every team in the National League every year, and you'll alternate. You'll play 1 series, at Cubs. What's that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now games against other teams in the American League is pretty much the same. I think it's 10 games against each team, or 8 maybe it is. But instead of now, you still play more against the teams in your division, but it's 6 less, or it's even 7 less in some cases. So it's much more balanced. If you base it on last year's schedule, the Indians or the Guardians have the second biggest increase in games against winning teams. Only the Dodgers are going up more.
Wow.
So that could affect their over-under here.
Is that because, before I let you guys open, just so everyone understands, that's because they're playing fewer games against the Tigers and Royals, who were terrible, and more teams
and even the White Sox and Twins, who should be better, especially the White Sox, but were not good last year. The entire division was bad last year besides the Guardians. So now you have to play every team in the National League 1 series, as opposed to last year when you only played, say, 20 games against the National League. Now you're going to play 40. So in theory, you're going to play some tougher teams.
And also, the shift is done, right, this year?
And the shift, that's also another big thing this year. The shift is done. Jose Ramirez is one of the his percentage of pulling the ball was top 10 in the league. So he's already a good hitter, and this shift killing should help him. Now, I don't know, the Guardians are a team that overall they don't get overshifted because there are a lot of spray hitters, but Jose gets shifted a lot, but they won't be able to overshift. So now the shortstop has to play on the left side of second base. The second baseman has to play on the right side of second base. And the biggest thing is, what we saw a lot the last bunch of years, especially when Jose was up, is the second baseman playing out in right field on the grass.
Right.
That's gone. You have to be on the infield dirt. Now, you can play on the back of it, but you got to be on the infield dirt. You cannot be on the grass. I guess you could be on the infield grass, but you can't be on the outfield grass. So, yeah, that change is also happening. We got the pitch clock this year.
Oh,
that's new.
Now, what is the pitch clock is?
I can't remember the exact time. I don't remember.
When does that
20.
clock stop and start?
Is it 20, Mike?
Go ahead. What'd you say,
I
Mike?
believe it's 20 seconds, right?
I think it's 20 seconds with nobody on base and maybe 8 or 20 with a runner on base and 18 without. I don't remember the exact time. But as soon as the pitcher gets the ball, clock starts.
So so it was bases loaded. You trying to stall out?
I got the numbers real quick. G, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
It is 15 seconds with an empty base and 20 seconds with a runner on base.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Can you step off the rubber?
I mean, you can, but it doesn't stop the clock.
You ain't got a lot of time.
Yeah, no.
What happens if you don't? What happens if the clock hits you?
Yeah, now I don't even. I assume they call it a ball. I actually don't know.
I'm looking at an MLB article right now. I'll continue to read it, but it says the pitcher must begin his motion to deliver the pitch before the expiration of the pitch timer.
Yeah.
What are the consequences?
I think in the beginning of the year, the umpires, my guess, will give a little extra leeway.
That should be no.
It shouldn't be.
This should be electronic.
It's a good point. I don't know the consequences.
Oh, I love this. Oh,
I don't know it.
This is what I love. See, now I'm using this as a strategy.
Yeah.
I'm like this. We gonna get up there. We gonna get people on base.
Yeah.
And I want you moving around over there.
Yeah.
On first base.
And that's why you get. If I think we're going to see more stolen bases, which is I think good for the game, creates excitement. Without the shift, we're going to see more balls put. I think we're going to see more balls put into play because I think we're going to see a little less swinging for the fences because you know that they can't play you over shifted. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, according to this MLB.com
Is it a ball?
article, quote, pitchers who violate the timer are charged with an automatic ball.
Yeah.
And batters who are not in the box and alert to the pitcher by the 8-second mark
Strike.
are charged with an automatic strike.
Oh,
Ooh,
listen.
wow.
Listen. Y'all been trying to thank you, Major League Baseball. This is what you've been. Listen,
We
for
need
the
to pick up
fringe.
the pace here.
Now I'm
They put the
using
shot
this.
clock in the game.
Hey, we gonna find out how good of a pitcher you are. It's hard as heck to be up there with bases loaded, and you
Yeah.
over there like you can't be waving off every fourth pitch by the catcher.
Yeah, you can't stand there for 40
somebody's
seconds.
arm get worn out.
Yeah,
They start complaining about their
Yeah,
arms.
the Guardians do have an advantage because they're a young team, and these rules have been in the minors for a couple of years.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been in the minors. Same
So-
as the bigger bases, which is also
That's
coming.
true. Bigger bases is another thing they're doing, which will also lead to steals because it's technically going to be a little less than 90 feet between bases.
Yeah, this
now.
I'm watching.
And it
this.
gives you a little more room to hit the base, not step on the guy's foot or whatever. I don't know. I like all these rules. I think baseball does a lot of stupid things, but I like all these rules.
Wow.
I think they're good.
Wow.
But what do you guys how are you feeling right now? Knowing the schedule, do you think, knowing the team, obviously they got better, but not head and shoulders better. Yeah, Mike.
I want to add one more thing. This MLB article is phenomenal. I want to say
Yeah.
it to you. And curious how Brad and G, as former athletes, you guys take. Two things. Rockies reliever Brent Sutter, Sutter, Sutter?
Brent Sutter.
Sutter, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Had the fastest time between pitches last season, 12.6 seconds. They asked him, what's the biggest key in preparation to pitching fast as opposed to taking your time? He goes, physical conditioning. So it's going to take a different toll on the pitchers. And then Shane Bieber, this is for Guardians, had a 14.6 time between pitches, which was the 10th fastest in baseball. So the Guardians' ace should not have any issues adapting to this increase in play, which I do think could have an effect on some pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I hate it when I'm watching a game and the pitcher's like taking forever to throw the ball. It's boring. But
all you Bartolo Colognes,
oh boy,
you better get that conditioning together. You better
right.
breathing hard.
Yep, it's gonna be hurt. It's gonna hurt the fat pitcher. All right, guys. So what are we saying? Over, under 87.5 wins for the Guardians this year.
What you got, G?
I feel like it's gonna come down a little bit, but it's going. I got them. What did I had them 92 last year? I think they win 90 games this year.
90.
So you got over.
So you got the over.
I'm taking over, right? Because I just feel like the new rules may be helpful to the Guardians, and I'm gonna take. And I always bank on the fact that Tito does such a good job coaching that he's gonna have us in the mix, right? I don't see us regressing.
Yeah.
Now that's all predicated on staying injury bug free, right?
Yeah. That and plus, see now I don't worry about it as much. I feel like with these new rules, I'm kind of optimistic because now I don't have to sit up there and wait for a 3-run home run. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could do some stuff to kind of manufacture some runs a little bit.
Yeah.
And they run a lot already. They got speed throughout their lineup. So I like the fact that, you know what, I had them, but I still think the White Sox will be good this year. I just think they played terrible last year.
The numbers are really good because I'm right around that number. On the surface, you see they won 92 last year, and you're like, well, they got a little better. They didn't lose anybody that's good, and they added Josh Bell and Mike Zunino. But they didn't make that blockbuster move I wanted them to make. And you got to figure they had so much success from young players. This is not basketball and football where, in those sports, when you establish yourself as a good player, you usually stay as a good player unless you get hurt.
Like the trajectory just keeps going up.
Whereas baseball is like, whoosh, it's a roller coaster. It really is. Some of these Guardians players are going to regress. I don't know who. It's just the nature of the beast. Plus, the White Sox and Twins, I got to figure they're going to be better. The Guardians' schedule is tougher. I do think the Guardians are a playoff team, but I think they might win less games than last year. I just think their schedule is going to be tougher. I got them right around that number. I'm gonna say over, but I don't feel great about it. I got them with 88 wins this year, as of now. Now, I still think they might make a big trade before the start of the season. We got a couple of weeks till spring training. The regular season doesn't start for, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. They've got a ton of young prospects, even beyond the guys that they called up last year. I'd still like to see them go out and make a big move for a Brian Reynolds from Pittsburgh or something like that. And maybe I'll be a little higher. But I got them, as of now, I think they're an 88-win team, so just over the number.
I've been chomping at the bit. I'm glad I remembered this.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, I remember we was talking to Jay after this, and I was at the radio station, and they were talking. We had the financial guy on, and they were talking about the impact of the Bally's deal.
Okay.
Bally's bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
this, I think
this
this
catastrophic.
This is going to hurt so many small market teams because they bank on that local money much. When you look at the Guardians, you telling me that you could be losing 37.
Well, I think
40,
this pushes Dolan out. I think he's going to sell the team to
So
what's
how-
his name? The guy who bought the minority stake, Glasser.
Does everybody out
Whatever his name is.
that follows us understands what that means?
Will you guys explain exactly what's happening?
Yeah,
for anyone who doesn't fully
let's
understand?
go ahead and talk about
Yeah,
Bally.
so it was
Bally.
John Arand, I know, who was on with you guys, right?
Yep.
So the Bally's,
Bally's is
which owns the
sports channel.
the sports channel that the Guardians are on and that the Cavs are on, they're going bankrupt.
Right.
And they own regional sports networks throughout the country.
Right.
We've seen it. It was Sports Time Ohio, now it's Bally. And they're going bankrupt because the business, when they got in, they thought it was going to be more lucrative. It hasn't been.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's a business thing. They're going bankrupt. And so there's money that they owe to the Guardians that the Guardians.
I thought it was $50 million.
I thought it was about $50 million that they owed the Guardians. And the way bankruptcy works is like, okay, there's a lot of creditors that are in line to get money. So, the judge may say, look, hey, everybody got to get some, or this creditor is going to get more than others. But what we expect is pennies on a dollar. It's not going to be, you're not going to get that money. And when you talk about, the Dolans and what their business model is, they've always had to, move things around. But when you take one of their biggest main money makers away, which is those local rights, you're in trouble.
Now, listen. I've never believed that these teams don't have enough money to spend more than they can. I never believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is an excuse for them to spend less. I would think the Dolans would get out of this now.
Yeah.
What is the name of the guy who bought the minority stake? Is it David Glasser? Is that his name? Can you look that up, Mike? The guy who bought the minority stake.
Blitzer. David Blitzer.
Blitzer, not Glasser. Blitzer. So eventually he was going to buy the team anyway. So maybe he has more money than Dolan, I assume. So, in the long run, maybe
that $50 million is
a lot.
That's a lot of money here.
And they already had a bad TV deal to begin with compared to a lot of other teams.
It wasn't like they was getting LA money or New York money. They was getting, and that was one of the things that they said is, at least we got the TV money, and then they got, obviously they split revenue on some other things, right?
So
on the national deal, right?
On some money in terms of internet sales and stuff like that.
What would this mean to the fan?
I mean, it could mean potentially that there's less money for payroll. Now, that's not going to matter right now.
How about viewing the games?
Well, I think for viewing the games, it doesn't change for now. But MLB has this whole thing screwed up. You can't watch the Guardians games on the app because it's blacked out.
I don't know.
You can't get Bally's on anything but DirecTV or maybe cable. You can't get it on YouTube. You can't get it on all these other things.
Spectrum, you can.
You can get it on Spectrum. I know I can get it on. The only reason I keep DirecTV is to watch the Guardians and Cavs.
That's it.
That's all. That's the only reason I keep it. I want to cancel, but I have no choice.
For so long, people didn't even know how to get it.
I know.
It was just like
it's crazy.
It was just crazy. And my thing is, and I asked him, what's his name, Arand? I asked him. I said, the correlation of, I always wonder, Bull, why the heck are these guys able to spend that amount of money when I look at the stands in April, in May, in June, and these guys are hitting home runs in the stands, and there ain't nobody out there, including concession workers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got 500 what? I don't understand the correlation of that. We talk about basketball all the time where we got to keep these dudes playing because people will be pissed off. Like, I came to see Steph. He ain't playing. Football. I'm not even going to mention football. Put him over there. But how is baseball sustaining that level of spending when for years attendance has been down in every major market?
Well, no, it's not down in every major market. But it's down. It's not good here. The big markets.
It's down across the league, though. Like, if you looked at a league average.
League average on attendance
10
is down.
years ago, it is down league-wide.
But I think only since COVID, right?
I'll double-check, but I thought it was down.
I don't know, man. The top 15 markets have really good attendance. But a lot of it's TV money. And even here, the Guardians get great TV ratings.
Yeah, huge.
Comparatively, they're one of the best TV baseball markets in America.
Yeah, if it's on TV.
And obviously, a lot of people love listening to Tom Hamilton on the radio.
Yeah.
He does a great broadcast of the game. But people don't go to the games. I mean,
this Bally deal is deep. It's because it cuts across multiple platforms here.
Yeah.
And there's some serious money that is up in the air.
Yeah.
And people have banked that money on building their franchises.
Right.
And how they're going to pay
people. And that's certainly
going to
affect the payroll next year.
Yeah.
This year is already set, but
that's like we all come to work, right? And then they just be like, yeah, so Tegna or WKYC be like, listen, we're going through a little problems right now. We still going to put the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on TV, but we're not going to pay you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nah, bro. What you mean? Like, and for an owner, $50 million ain't light cakes. That ain't light cakes. That's especially when you put it into, you baking it in the fact that I got to take this free agent and I might want to do this in my purse string.
And especially when the Guardians already use their TV deal and attendance as an excuse for why their payroll is ridiculously low. This is, you assume, going to be a factor. We'll see, as these things go forward. All right, Mikey.
So I looked at the numbers. I got two numbers to throw at you. According to Forbes, this was done in the middle of last season, I guess towards the end in September. But attendance across Major League Baseball down 6% from now till 2019, and 6% or 5.5% from 2022 to 2012. So down slightly, not a ton, but it is down slightly.
I wonder what it is.
A lot.
It is a lot. I wonder what it is just amongst the top half.
Pandemic was pretty neutral, and then it dropped.
I wonder what it is just amongst the top. I wonder if that is all the bottom 15 teams, or 16 or whatever, or it's across the board. I'd be curious. You got
to give me a little more time to research that in depth.
Yeah, and I wonder if the TV ratings, if they're better, or I don't know.
That's like somebody coming to Brad and be like, yeah, your interest rate was 5%. It's 11 now. Whoa, 6 a lot.
I mean, 6% is a pretty big drop.
And I do have one more number though.
Yeah, a ton of money was spent in Major League Baseball free agency this offseason. Tons.
I found a website, baseballsavant.mlb.com. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah.
All the advanced analytics. So I looked up every Guardians pitcher to see their average pitch time. All the starters on the low end, they work very fast. All the relievers, very slow. Clase, Karinchak, De Los Santos, Trevor Stefan, they're four slowest working pitchers. So it'll be interesting to see. The starters may not have that big of an adjustment. They naturally work fast. The relievers, I think it maybe have more an impact on.
Yeah, relievers tend to work slower, which is funny because relievers work from the stretch, whereas starters wind up more, which takes, in theory, a little longer.
But in theory, relievers come in when there's dire straits.
Right, that's true.
There's 2-3 people on base.
That's true.
Number 3 hitter up, you over there.
More pressure situation.
Well, they split this into with runners on base and bases empty.
Okay.
So even with both of those, the reliever, like, for example, Clase took 23 seconds between pitches with the bases empty. He took 29 seconds between pitches with runners on base.
What about Karinchak?
Karinchak was the only one slower. Also 23 seconds with the bases empty, and then 29.5 seconds.
I mean, because he does all those antics as he gets ready to throw. You're going to have to get used to it.
Trust me, it's going to be – I can't wait to see people lose a game.
Oh, they're going to lose their minds.
I can't wait to somebody lose a game on that pitch count.
Oh, my God.
If Clase might be the most intimidating guy in baseball from a pitching standpoint. He throws 102. He's yoked out of his mind. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
If they call a ball on him, he's the last dude I want to see pissed off on the mound. He might throw 107-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
He better get over it. He can't be walking around that mound.
They're going to have to get used to it. These guys got, they'll have spring training to adjust to it.
We got to get a Guardians pitcher on. Someone who's worked with this throughout the system. We'll send Curtis an email. Get someone on. But someone who worked with the pitch clock in the minors to see how it affects.
You could be corny, too. You could be doing cheers in the dugout. That's a boy. Now, here's the thing. There's etiquette. You can't laugh at me if the pitch clock go off on me.
It's going to happen to you.
Because it's going to happen.
We want a pitcher, not a belly
Are we going to see the fans count down like we did against Giannis on the free throws a couple years ago?
That would be fire if the Guardians try to do that. We need to start that. Can we put the buzzer up there on the big jumbotron and be like, hey, have it counting down?
That'll be messing with pitchers' minds.
Oh, my gosh. Listen, by the way, that's the thing. Hey, listen, is that – yeah, we're going to do that before they tell us it's illegal.
All right, Mikey. So,
fire.
Next topic.
Yeah, we want to get to taking away memories from fans, right?
I found this on Twitter yesterday while scrolling. So, when we see something on Twitter, we give people credit. This was from Cleveland Sports Talk.
What is Cleveland Sports Talk? It looks like they stole our logo.
It doesn't. It's not our logo. It does look like it. I'm not quite sure who he is. Earl says he knows the guy who runs it. I'm not quite familiar with him, but they put this tweet up yesterday. They got some good responses. I'm curious what you guys think. If you could delete a Cleveland sports moment from your memory, what would it be and why?
Mine would be the fumble of the ball on the one on the carpet in Denver. That's what that would be. Biner.
He would like to.
Why? Ask me why.
Why?
I had a nice bet with Mike going on. I was about to collect. And it wasn't until 10 seconds after that ball hit the carpet, he called my house and was like, bring my money to practice tomorrow.
Like he needed that money.
Back then, there wasn't no cash app. You had to go to the bank. You walking in here with large sums of money. There's so many. There's so many. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now, and y'all gonna look back on this. And this is I would erase Chad Henne. 14-yard scramble in Kansas City. You had them on the hook. If that game goes differently, Baker Mayfield's probably still your quarterback.
That's not good, though. Why would you want to take that away?
Listen, at that point, he might have not got hurt. You look at that game, the Cleveland Browns not only had them on the ropes, they had them on the ropes with Patrick Mahomes gone, out of the game injured.
You're right.
You ran and walked up and down the field on them, had them looking goofy. He had already thrown one pick, and Joseph Woods himself.
Joseph just got a new job.
New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator Joe Woods.
Good for him. Take the Mavs down there. I just, he comes out with 4 and rushes, and Chad Henne just slow walks down the sideline, picks up a first down, and your Cleveland Browns could have been in the AFC Championship game 2020. We'll never know.
The reality, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with the World Series against the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
When, obviously, they lose in Game 7 in the 11th inning.
It was Director Steve's fault. Remember, he was there.
Yeah, the Indians were up 2-0 in that game. And then, obviously, I think it was at the 7th that the Marlins scored their first run. From the 7th inning on, we want to erase the memory. However, I always felt as a kid growing up, and I know my teams have been good in recent years, but as a kid, as a Cubs and Bengals fan, I had never won until the Cubs won in 2016. None of my teams had ever won a championship. And I feel the same way about fans here who had not experienced the championship, unless you're older, until the Cavs. All the brutal losses, as bad as they are, they make you who you are as a fan. There's a badge of honor to being, for me, a Cubs fan, or an Indians fan or a Browns fan that maybe you don't want that badge, but there is a badge of honor for having to suffer to never see your team win a championship, that people who are fans of the Yankees or the Lakers or the Cowboys suck now, but the 49ers, all these franchises that have had long-term success, those fans got it easy. It's easy being a fan. It's hard being a Browns fan. It's hard being an Indians fan. It toughens you up.
McNuggets, this is a great, you segued into this. I feel like when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016,
okay,
we feel like all that we need to do is win a championship, but I feel like that's not necessarily true. In 2016, when the Cavs won, everybody was head over heels, right? But it's almost now, people don't. I thought whoever was the first to win it, they would be gods. They would be reverenced, and that would just be cool. Like, if the Browns sucked, cool, we won a championship. If the Guardians don't spend no money, cool, the Cavs won. But because they did not have sustained growth and sustained longevity, I think it came, and by the time we was like, okay, this is what it feel like to be in the contenders. This is what it feel like to be on national TV. This is what it feel like to be like one of those guys at the country club. You lose your job and you gotta default on your membership, right? You can't go to the golf course no more. They said, whatever happened to that kid Garrett? He had a Range Rover and everything. That little money was funny, right? Now all of a sudden you at the Y again. It's the same way with Kyrie, like in LeBron, because they rolled out. We were supposed to be doing that long term. So like, I feel like right now, people kind of just don't even really appreciate it at that level. It's just like, yeah, it happened, but you weren't there long enough to feel it. Like right now, do you watch the Cavs and be like, yeah, that's one of the greatest championships. Yeah, that championship. Nobody even talks about 2016. They don't.
Let's go.
Hey, have you seen anybody on the street? You go to Cleveland, right? You be in airports. You go on vacation. When they ask you, yeah, man, don't anybody say, hey, man, 2016, man, you guys did your thing. No one mentions it. They tell you how terrible the Browns is and what's going on with Deshaun Watson. It's almost like it got struck for the records. Like, so in a way, I could almost feel Kyrie. It's like, yeah, we hit this shot. Yeah, it was 1 million people out there, but then the next year it was like, so?
Because, part of it is just the nature of the sport, right? Like, even we say this is about Cleveland, but it really, in America, football is in a pedestal by itself. The NFL is on a pedestal by itself. There's no longer like I always thought of sports for me as a big three: baseball, football, basketball. But it really is. It's a big one.
Yeah.
The NFL's up here, and then the other sports are on here, and then further. So winning a championship in football is just changes everything more than any other sport. And not for every individual. Like for me, If I had to pick one Cleveland team to win a championship, I'd pick the Guardians. I'd want them to win more than the other teams. But for the majority of fans here, and I believe for the majority of fans in most cities that have 3 or more teams, their football team winning is most important to the city.
Yeah, it's just, and I don't know. I felt like I can't be the only one that feels like this. Like,
no, you're right.
Like, it's just like, and even when we're in the business of talking about the Cavs, talking about sports, it's almost as if, like, the passion level, Brad, you played basketball. You played basketball.
Yeah, but it's never going to carry the day. Bulls, right? It's never going to carry the day like football. Football is going to carry the day. Now, here, the thing in 2016 was the feeling was amongst everyone because Cleveland hadn't had a championship in anything, right? So that's what drew all the people out. But for long-lasting memories, you get more people remembering the Browns in their heydays and the days they won and where they were and who was with them. They were with their dad and where they watched it at. You're going to get that for sure longer than any other sport here, right? It's just because that's just the way it is.
Sometimes I think maybe if LeBron would have stayed, we could have rolled it out.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's you think about the run the Cavaliers would have had if Kyrie hadn't asked out of town, right? they were set up to run for
Sure.
a decade. A decade. This could have been the Green Bay Packers setup.
Right. Like I just
Tattletown.
I just didn't understand. And then like for me, I just don't get it. Well, I kind of do get it, but I don't. Like, I think there was so much backlash after he left the first time that people it took them everything they had. It's some people who had to move heaven and earth to get on board with him coming back. They was just so scorned. And it took a couple years and you know, they finally broke through and did it. But for me, I just realized like that one day, it just seemed like when in 18 when he said, all right, we had to run, and you kind of knew he was done. Mm-hmm. I was just like, but hold on though. You said, what are you doing? I don't care how many. It became this narrative where, hey, as long as he got us our championship, I'm like, that was not the deal. That was not what you said on that stage in Akron. That was not the deal. You said you coming back and you gonna get it done. Right. And then when it was like people just gave him a pass, I think it was just like, okay, well, he don't want to be here no more. Like we got what we needed. Cool, that's fine.
Plus, it's always like when you haven't won, you're like, just give me one championship, just give me one. But then you win one, you want more. That's not it.
I'm like,
Yankee fans still want more championships. They won a zillion.
And so you look at it, you happen now. Obviously, the very next year, the Raptors go and play, Golden State, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so the Raptors break out and come through with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, if LeBron and Kyrie was still there, that looks like them. You go play the Warriors again.
Well, that was 2 years, right?
Did they? So I don't think they won 3 in a row. So they won
because
won a
the
16.
Cavs lost the year.
They won a 16.
Yeah.
The next year, 17, they lost with Kyrie.
Yeah.
The next year, in 18, they just had LeBron and all the rest of the tag-along gang, right? And then in 2019, it was the Toronto Raptors and them, and then the Raptors eventually beat them. Right. So I always wonder what would have been.
Yeah.
What would have been.
It was a great run because the country was just starting to hate Cleveland because Cleveland was showing up in the finals every year. Every year.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
It was getting like New England like.
Foregone conclusion. It was Stephen A. Smith used to say, I gotta go up to Cleveland. South Beach is down there. You got me up here in Cleveland. No disrespect to Cleveland.
That is disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful.
Yeah. All right, Mikey. We got some internet comments.
We do from PCC because PCC is back. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? Well, PCC Airfoils is looking for people just like you. They have open positions in Mentor, Eastlick, West Wickliffe. I'm doing the read off the top of my head. I'm a little rusty right now. Hold on. I got to pull up the email. PCC. There it is. Okay. Yeah. All locations of PC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, Minerva, hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/career.
They might want to get in on that. You know, that jobs number came out the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Great job number.
517,000.
You might want to go ahead and get you
lowest
some of that.
unemployment in a long time.
Yeah.
And we shot down the balloon. We shot that balloon right down, baby. Shoot down that balloon.
I don't understand. And then this guy gonna say, well, we can retaliate for shooting down. Listen, you better stop playing. Mr. G, you better stop playing around here. You got balloons flying over the top of the talking about we really could do something about it. That's like me going to Earl's house and eating all his food and be like, I could retaliate.
By the way, it was a good job waiting until this balloon was the size of 3 school buses.
Yeah, the wait till got off the coast.
Some of these idiots out there are like, let's shoot her down right now. I want to shoot her down. Let's do it.
I'm not even going to ask you what state you was portraying.
I mean,
what state were you portraying?
Just a bunch of, white trash, rednecks. Say that? I don't know. But if you shoot it down over people's houses, people get killed. They waited till it was over water. They had stopped the signal from coming off it. They were on top of it. Nice job. Shoot down that balloon.
I'm actually unfamiliar. What balloon was this?
What?
I didn't see none of these balloons.
Oh
I've been in the laboratory writing. Jokes.
Stay off the sports pages.
Oh my God!
Read the whole page. Read all the
Chinese
app.
spy balloons.
Read all the app.
We found the NSA or whoever it was got all the information off of it. They jammed the signal so it couldn't do anything in America, and then they shot it up. They bombed it essentially
7 miles off the coast.
Off the coast, so nobody would get hurt by the debris. Very smart, good job.
Good job. Listen, I've been in the bunker writing jokes for the last week.
Bunker?
You are lost in the soup.
I've been in the bunker. Listen, I've closed.
Did you hear Queen Elizabeth died, by the way?
I did.
That was a good one.
I also heard that.
Nope, too late.
I was thinking, was it 2K?
You know Joe Biden's president right now? You aware of that?
No way. When that happened. Okay, real quick.
Allegedly.
We got some comments from the internet. They chimed in on the most painful Cleveland memories. This is from Andrea Eagle. The most painful is either the drive or Game 7 for me. I still have too many emotions about Elway. Darla Kajak? Kajca? Kajka?
Yeah, well, we can talk about this.
You're saying that as if we would know how to pronounce her name.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Saw it.
She said she'd delete the move. Not a bad one. Talking and Grubbing Media, Game 7 of the 97 World Series, and DeMond says, I take the shot away. That would have eliminated Jordan's entire legacy. Brad?
Shot.
I'm silent on that. I'm silent on that.
Hey, look, bro, that shot, look, bro, look.
Here.
And when I was young,
I don't want to erase that because, here, I grew up here, right? I'm from here. I used to go to the Coliseum as a kid, right? When they moved from the Cleveland Arena downtown to the Coliseum, walking in there, the plane dealer would give you, if you answered a survey question in the paper, they would mail you like 4 free tickets to a Cavs game.
man,
That's for free. I mean, I'm talking lower bowl.
man, that's crazy.
Wow.
So that's when they would get no fans.
None.
And go out there and watch those games. And to be in that game that day with that crowd, 21,000, almost 21,000 at Richfield, and the volume in the arena at that moment, I couldn't replace it. I mean, so I don't ever want to erase the memory. Now I understand what, this side of the ledger, what it did to the city, right?
Yeah.
But just being in that, one of those iconic moments.
You know the bad part about it, though, man? The bad part about it, there's a couple of things that I can't never stand. And one of them is, especially when you come from our community, man, Jordan was so transcendent that you had people that was from your own block, your own family, your own school, your own church, your own synagogue. Just, they would play the Cavs and they would root openly for the Bulls.
Wow.
Openly. They're like, it's Bulls. It's the Bulls.
I'm going to give you a small story. This was for shot 2 against Wilkins, right? They were in town early. The Bulls were in town early. I was playing in Detroit, I think. And he was like, you coming to Cleveland? Because I don't want to stay in the hotel. We don't want to stay in the hotel. Just drive back from Detroit and then show us around while you're here. I was like, all right, man, all right, I'll drive back here, right? So I said, there's a friend of mine was hawking a play down at Playhouse. It was an African-American playhouse. And it was the day before the game. And he said, all right, we want to go to the play, then we'll go to dinner, right? So I took him into the play. It was me, a bunch of them on the Bulls. We walked into the play. It had already started, probably halfway through. So we walked to the play. We were going to the seats, right? As soon as he walked in and people realized who he was, do you know people started standing up, giving him a standing ovation?
Bro,
in the middle of the play.
Bro.
I stepped back. I was like, what is doing that? I said, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about this is, first of all, try getting that off today. Like, think about it. You can't, like, as an NBA player, like, you can't. I don't think any of them, like, really should. But can you imagine, like, I don't know, LeBron showing up at a theater or Jordan or none of them?
I mean, doesn't he go to a bar ever?
Who?
LeBron.
No.
He probably gets a private room, but he never goes to anywhere.
He can't.
He got to. Yeah.
People are so aggressive now. Fans are aggressive and
you can't,
crazy.
Walked into the play, G, standing ovation. Forget the play. I was like,
that's funny.
Like,
were the actors pissed off?
I don't know. They probably was clapping too. I was like, this is crazy.
This is like, there's
nuts.
There's places, and I don't even know. Back then, I don't think Chicago was that bad. Like, obviously, like Chicago today is like,
that's the change.
You not walking nowhere. You about to just that's not a thing.
Stay in your block.
Yeah, do you know anybody? That's like nowadays if you go around.
It's not that bad. Let's not. Come on, don't. It's not that bad.
The city of Chicago.
You for real?
No.
We can't live in our fears.
So let me tell you this.
It needs to be cleaned up.
I'm gonna give you this. If me in Chicago is different from you in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody know. Listen, you kill a white dude in Chicago, they gonna give you the gas chamber or something, bro. You're not get, but there be unsolved joints. You can't. There's certain blocks you can't go to. You can't maneuver a certain way. I always say this, man. Look, I need to be where everybody else is at. I don't go nowhere. I'll be in that hotel room. I'm in a block radius, and I don't be in no. I don't even be getting no rentals. We right here and to the spot. We back and forth. Man, it's bad in Chicago, bro. It's bad.
How did we get to that?
Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah. Jordan.
What's the next question, Mike?
What was the final result on the poll, by the way? Oh, you did it for
the Jordan?
Minutes, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was 55 for LeBron, 45 Jordan, average age 36 for LeBron, 46 for Jordan.
Okay, so. What else you got? Any other things, or was that it?
We'll plug the comedy show real quick. Someone tweeted us and said that I guarantee McNuggets will not have a Chinese joke in his stand-up. Well, guess what? I may have to add one in now just because of it.
No,
why would you have a Chinese joke? No racial
the Chinese
jokes.
balloon. The Chinese balloon, which I didn't know.
Oh, a Chinese balloon joke.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you should have a Chinese balloon. I mean, geez.
So this is crazy, though. Like, so when you doing stand-up, this is such a gray area. So first of all, comedians should be able to say anything they want.
They should still be able to say whatever they want, but Mike's not a comedian.
So for these purposes, Mike is not a comedian.
No, he's not.
So like,
because you have to know how to tell jokes like that in a certain way. Like, he don't know how to do that. He's not a professional.
So this is
maybe I do.
So basically, we set him up for failure.
No, he just doesn't need. He'd be better off not doing any kind of racial or jokes of that nature.
So religion.
I mean, he can do whatever he wants. I just think he should.
So
stay away
religion, sexuality.
He can, unless it's his own. Like he can make fun of his own stuff like that. You can't, but not other people's. I think that he can do whatever he wants. And I think there should be no limits. I think comedians should be able to joke about everything. Mm-hmm. And people are too sensitive when it comes to comedians. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make you think, supposed to make you a little uncomfortable, you know?
About Mikey?
No. What you think? Can comedians say anything?
Comedians, I agree with Bull. Comedians have the latitude to go wherever, right?
They should, but
Right.
Yeah.
But people are so sensitive, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to laugh at yourself, right? But they're supposed to be thought-provoking to a degree.
That's right.
Right.
And that's why we have, on this show, we've had conversations about race and things like that.
The problem is you can't say anything out here anymore.
Right.
Because it's just...
Well, we've become, like everything else, extremism. There's a part of the country that thinks you should say anything to anybody at any time, no matter how awful it is. Mm-hmm. And the other part is like, you can't say anything. Even if one person's offended by a joke, you can't say anything. And as usual, both the extremes are wrong. There needs to be a middle ground on it. Unfortunately, we can't find it.
My mom is, she's not worried about me dying. She's not worried about me getting killed in gang activity or doing nothing else or going beating people up. She's worried about, she said, how many hours a day you talk? She's like, it just take like 5 seconds out of those hours to say things, like, right? And she said, sometimes I worry because just the climate, you'd be like, does he have enough filter to understand where he goes and what he's going to do and how he's going to say that? He's like, you got 75 podcasts. Her worst nightmare is turning on the TV and me saying something crazy.
It's funny that you say that, but I've been on the air for 25 years almost at this point, and I've never said anything that ever got me in trouble. I once tweeted something with a typo that could have gotten me in trouble. It was obviously a typo, and the second I realized I tweeted it, I deleted it, and nobody ever saw it. I'm not going to say what I said, but I almost had a heart attack because it was out there for a second.
Yeah.
But the way I feel about it is people that are good people and that don't have biases or hate people for any reason, which you are one of those people, and I am one of those people, I like to believe, that we don't have to worry about it, because when you're coming from a good place, you're never going to say anything awful. If you did say something that might be a little insensitive, it would be an accident. It would be just a misunderstanding or something like that, and it would be something that reasonable people would realize, okay, it was a mistake, whatever. I think only people that have bad intentions in their heart are really going to get in trouble with stuff like that. Maybe I'm being too naive about that, but
I think I think sometimes, like I said, you never know. When you're in the game and you talk a lot, sometimes you're gonna say stuff that is not
perceived well.
Perceived well.
That's true.
And so I'll be trying to apologize in advance. One day I'm not perfect. One day they're gonna say, "G. Bush, we use the people's champ. Why would you say that?" I'm like, "Look, bro, I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I don't ever say nothing like that. But it's just I think people still need to be able to have the ability to just say, hey, you know what? That was on me, dog. That was a bad look. I apologize, and hopefully you guys keep it moving. And so, but sometimes.
And I think if people know you come from a good place, people will be okay with that. Let's get to final thoughts, Brad. You're up first.
All right, so I want to go back to something that G was talking about earlier, that nobody watches college basketball. That's erroneous. Yep. People are watching women's college basketball. I watched all weekend long. 15,000 in Hartford, Connecticut, watching UConn and South Carolina yesterday. 12,000 in Purdue, watching Purdue women play Indiana. 11,000 in College Park, watching Ohio State versus Maryland yesterday. And if you have not paid attention to women's college basketball, and you hear me talk about it from time to time, the Big Ten Women's Conference is probably the best basketball conference in America. And this last 3.5 week finish that's going to go down in the Big Ten between between Indiana, Ohio State, Maryland, and Iowa is going to be because they all play each other out of those final 6 games 4 times. In a combination of those 4 games against ranked teams. They're all ranked. They're all top 10 teams. Mm-hmm. This finish is going to be the most fabulous finish I've seen in any collegiate level of any major conference in any time here in recent years, and the talent level is immense. So if you've seen the Caitlin Clarks, the Diamond Millers, the Michigan team play as well, I mean, this thing is outstanding. The Indiana teams. So do yourself a favor. Tune in, follow it. The women deserve it. They play at a very high level, and it is very enjoyable.
And your daughter had a big game yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, she coming. 19 points, 9 assists.
Damn.
Blew out the Buckeyes by damn near 40. Right?
Dang, dog. You sent her some money for that, dog?
No. No.
What year is she?
Sophomore.
Nah, come on, man. She gave me like pops. I was killing.
I took her to dinner last night.
Okay, you was like,
her and her roommate ate well. They ate well. They waiting for me at the restaurant.
Right, yeah.
They text me. We're here.
Brad, is she good enough to play in the NBA, WNBA?
She will be.
She will be? Mm-hmm. That's exciting.
That's crazy.
That's great.
That's crazy, man. My final take, I ain't did one of these in a while, man. My final take, see, I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but, there's a lot of times right now when there's individuals who prioritize a bunch of things. We always on the grind. I'm a dude who like to keep moving. I always got goals, already got game plans. I got schemes. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm working 24 hours a day. We always trying to get something and accumulate something and figure out what's our next step, man. But one of the greatest equalizers in life is the finish line. And that is when you out of here, you out of here. And people say, man, why you being so morbid? Nah, I'm actually being congratulatory. I'm actually telling you something because I believe everybody is on this planet for a reason and they have a purpose, right? Mm-hmm. But as soon as you fulfill that purpose, you got to go. We're here to do something. We're here to do something. So if you got a purpose on your life, you never know when that time may come. My goal, my meaningless purpose may be to reach 2 or 3 people. And as soon as I reach them 2 to 3 people, I got to go home. So one of the things that I always try to stay in the moment is and let people know is you can't take the money with you. You can't take no fame with you. You can't even take your health with you because eventually that will even give away on you. But what you can do is you can learn to live in the moment. You can learn to cherish your soul, and you can learn to say, even if I love my wife, even if I love my brother, we all go alone. So at the end of the day, give something now. Don't worry about the little stuff. don't matter how many cars you drive, you can't put that in the casket with you. And if you learn that,
that's true.
As I've been trying to learn, as I've been trying to move through this game, if you learn that, your days will be much more fulfilled because you're here to fulfill a purpose, not to stuff the bank, not to stuff it with material stuff. So, hey, somebody out there, hey, be in it now because you never know when that's going to go away.
All right, real quick here, it's dark times, folks. The Rocky River Raptors have dropped to 0-5 on the season. I was the head coach this weekend because our head coach could not make the game. I tried to get a last-minute replacement by Mikey McNuggets, his assistant coach.
I'm coming this week.
He came up with some lame excuse about meeting some cousins for lunch.
Yeah, sorry, I put family over.
White people don't got cousins.
You ain't got no cousins. Who you kidding? You're a white guy.
We just talked about Jewish people having all the cousins.
That's true. Jewish people do have cousins. We're very incestuous. And let me tell you, it was really disappointing that we lost again. We frankly got our ass kicked by the Baylor team out of Westlake. They dominated us in the second half. It's a depressing time. And my coach's seat is red hot right now.